Thank you for jumping on tonight. My name is Emma. I am team leader down in the Bass Coast area and have been consulting for nearly 9 years, I think. Team leader for nearly 4. Living down here, but also supporting customers all over Australia, especially in the Yarra Valley as well. Have just recently broken out my first team leader who is joining me here tonight with her TM7. Ange, do you want to introduce yourself and tell us a bit about you?
Yep. So my name's Ange. I am also down in the Bass Coast in Wonthaggi. I've been a consultant now for just over 5 years and team leader for 1 month just on. So yeah, excited to be here and on this journey as well with Emma. Yeah, I think that's about it.
Awesome. Thanks, Ange. So tonight is all about the TM7. We have trade up, we have our second bowl offer for our new customers, and we are loving it, really. There's been lots of hype around. We are, Ange and I have been very busy connecting in with all of our customers and trying to let them know of these offers. Hey, Annie, thank you so much for jumping on. Give you a minute to get sorted, but welcome to come off mute and welcome to show your face if you wish. Ange and I will be cooking a few dishes tonight. We are here to show you the TM7. So if you've never seen the TM7 before, this is a really good insight as to what the machine does and just how much different it is from the TM31 5 and 6. We'll highlight some of those differences, but some of the things that we'll be focusing on tonight is the high heat function that is accessible on the TM7, as well as our open lid cooking. So I'm going to be cooking a garlic prawn pasta. And Ange, what are you making?
I am making the creamy coconut chicken curry served with a cauliflower rice.
Amazing. Can't wait to dig into my stuff for tomorrow night. This is tomorrow night's dinner cooking tonight. So I'm going to get started. I have mentioned that we have trade up. So if you've got any questions about that, please reach out. But ultimately, it is $750 off for a TM6, $450 for a TM5, and $250 for a TM or below. So if you've got any questions about that, reach out. We do have the $199 second bowl blade and lid set as well available with a brand new purchase or with trade up. So we can recap those offers at the end as well. So for tonight, I'm going to see if I can spotlight my it's not gonna let me. Where are we? Replace spotlight. Perfect. So in my TM7 here, I'm going to bring myself a little bit closer. I have just boiled some water using our kettle function. So in the TM7, we have lots of different manual modes. One of those manual modes is the kettle function. So in here, I literally just have some boiling water. I'm going to add in my pasta. I'm going to bring up my scales to do that. So over here, I have my little picture of my scales, and I'm going to add in 300 grams. Now, you might see that they are wobbling around there. The scales are wobbling. I don't know if you can see that. But these ones are quite precise. They weigh to the gram, and they're very sensitive. So even when I'm touching on that cord, they are moving around. They are, this Thermomix has a digital mirror. So what I'm doing in my Thermomix is going to reflect here on my screen as well. 300 grams of this pasta.
Become 6.
Everyone's so amazing, but I really hope I've done enough.
As we count down to the finale.
I'm really hoping that I gave Australia what they wanted tonight. I gave them my all, and I'm hoping that's enough.
And you choose your.
So now we've popped in the pasta. I'm going to give that a little stir. I'll just grab my. Sure. So one of the differences with the TM7 is our beautiful spatula. This is, it stands up, which I love. It also goes on its back, which I also love because it doesn't touch the bench, but it is the full length of the Thermomix. So when you're giving things a stir, you can really get to the bottom of the bowl, and it is a much nicer silicone, I don't know, bendy. It's bendy. It's good. So in here, I just have my pasta. And we're going to use our open lid cooking. So here I have my open lid cooking. This pasta says it takes, what does it say on here? 13 minutes. So I'm going to leave it at 15 minutes actually. Pop that on. So it's preset to 15 minutes. It's already set to 100 degrees and all I have to do is press play here. So this is one of the biggest differences with the TM7 to the TM6 531 is the fact that you can actually cook with the lid off. So I'll give it a second. You can see the light here is reflecting up on here to give us our nice smile. Once that gets to red, that will tell us that we're at 100 degrees and you'll actually start to notice the water bubbling inside the bowl, which I'll show you as we get a little closer. You can see it's moving around a little bit. It's not quite bubbling yet. We might go to Ange, and while she gets started with the chicken, we'll come back to this one once it has started bubbling away.
All right, hi everybody. So tonight I'm going to be making the creamy coconut chicken curry. And what I've done is planned it in my week. So you have the ability with the TM7 to plan your weekly meals as far in advance as you like. So all I need to do then is to click on my week here and it will take me through to everything that I have planned for the week ahead. So I'm just going into today to find the recipe and going to press on the recipe to open it up. When you're opening your recipes, this is through our recipe platform called CookieDoo. So with CookieDoo, you get access to 100,000 recipes worldwide with your subscription. So when you open up your recipe, you can scroll down, you can see all of your ingredients listed and everything that you need to make this recipe. As you scroll down further, you can also see all of the instructions down here and any hints and tips down the bottom. You also have the ability to add notes. So if you want to alter the recipes, you can add notes and then you know exactly what you've done for the next time when you come in to make the recipe. And then all the way down the bottom is your nutritional panel too. So if you need to know what's in your food with your energy, carbs, or your dietary fiber, fat, protein, and saturated fat and sodium, then you can check all of that here on the nutritional panel as well. So it's just a matter of pressing start. And our recipe is going to step us step by step through everything that we need to do. So the first step is just placing 350 grams of cauliflower into our Thermomix bowl. Like Emma said, the digital twin is imitating everything that is happening inside our bowl here. So you can see that it does move up as the bowl fills up as well. All right. On with our lid. And we're just going to chop that for 5 seconds. It's already preset, so I don't have to worry about what I need to chop it at and for how long. The recipe's already preset it for me, so all I need to press is play, but it's 5 seconds on speed 5 on reverse.
Can you maybe tell us why it's in reverse?
Yes, yep, I can do that. So the reason we are doing it in reverse for cauliflower rice is so that we get a beautiful consistency like this. So it is a rice consistency rather than pulverized. So in reverse, the blades are hitting the food on the blunt side of the blade rather than the sharp side of the blade.
So good.
So if we were to do that using the sharp side of the blade, it would really pulverize it into a lot finer consistency. All right. So pressing next, and it's just telling me to pop it into our varoma, which is what we're going to steam in. So I've done that, and then we're just going to repeat that step one more time.
While Angie's doing that, I'm just going to chat to the varoma. So with the TM6, the varoma is 45% smaller. So the TM7 varoma actually has the capacity for 6.8 litres, plus the capacity of your bowl as well, which is 2.2. So that's quite a large capacity. You can actually fit 2 whole roast chooks in the dish of the varoma in the TM7.
So the reason we've done this in 2 batches as well is so that we are not putting 750 grams of rice or 700 grams of the cauliflower into the jug at once. To split it into 2 is going to give us, again, a nicer consistency rather than having big chunks through if we were to jam too much into the jug.
I noticed, Ange, that you also made a little hole in the middle of your cauliflower rice.
Yeah, so that is just to allow the steam to come through when we are cooking our curry. The cauliflower rice will sit on top and that will cook all at the same time.
So that steam can actually come through all of the cauliflower. If you've got your whole base covered, then you won't get as even a cook. So the steam can actually come through and cook on top as well.
Yeah. So the next step tells me to rinse and dry my bowl. Instead of doing that, I'm just going to swap out to a nice clean bowl so that I don't have to worry about washing and drying in between. So I'm just pressing tear. So the next step is adding in 10 to 15 grams of fresh ginger. So you can see, oh, it's gone a little bit over, so it's not going to do it. If I was to get within the green range, it would automatically tick off that ingredient for me. Because I've gone a little bit over, I'm just going to tick that off. And with a garlic clove, because it's a unit, not a weight, I will also need to tick that off manually as well. I'm also not going to add in any chilies because my children find the extra chili a little bit too spicy. So the benefit of cookie dough is, even though it's a guided recipe, you still have full control of what goes on. So I'm just going to tick that off as well. I'm just going to simply leave it out. All right, so on with the lid and 3 seconds on speed 7. All right, so now the recipe is actually telling me not to scrape the bowl. So it's telling me that, so you can see all of that ginger and garlic is chopped up nice and fine, and it only took me 3 seconds. So I'd love to know how long that would take you if you were to do that by hand.
I wouldn't bother.
No. So the reason it's telling me not to scrape it down is because it's chopped up nice and fine. And the next step, we're popping in our onions. And we're going to saute these off using high heat. So if all of that fine ingredients were on the bottom, it would catch a little bit. We really want the surface area on the onions to get the browning rather than the garlic and the ginger. All right, so popping in our onions. And a little bit of olive oil, so 20 grams of olive oil. I'll try and get it in the right spot so you can see the ticking, like this, see it tick it off. When you cook, do you wing it or are you super accurate? Do you like to be super accurate with your measurements? All right, so it automatically ticks it off for me. I'm just pushing next, and then the lid is going on, and it's going to saute that on a gentle high heat for 4.5 minutes. So high heat on the TM7 is 160 degrees. The same on the TM6, but on the TM5 and the TM31, the hottest it gets to on the TM5 is 120 and 100 degrees on the TM31. So it's significantly hotter than previous models.
Can I just add there, Ange, too, that the difference between the 6 and the 7 with the high heat is the fact that you can access it manually. So we're in a recipe at the moment, and Ange is following a guided cook. But if you wanted to just brown ink yourself, which I will be doing shortly, I can access that browning mode manually. So I don't have to be within a recipe and trying to match what it's saying. I can do that myself without having to follow a recipe.
Yeah, and also with the TM7, you get the ability to choose between a gentle saute and an intense saute too. So on the TM6, it's just one.
Can you just explain what the difference is between the gentle and the intense while I go deal with my lovely children?
Yep, so with the gentle saute, you would use that more so for your vegetables, like what we're doing here with the onions. With an intense heat, you would use that more for meat. So you get more browning on the surface area of your meat. Yeah. Has anybody got any questions so far? Feel free to come off mute and ask questions as we go. We've got a very small group here, so please don't be shy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ange. Perfect timing. I'm just going to show you my pasta is bubbling around here. Let me see if I can spot that the camera and show you that bubble. So it is much like the saucepan. It is just simmering away there. It's reaching that 100 degrees. I do have a lot of pasta in there, so it is probably not as bubbly as it usually would be, but that is the open lid cooking and the ability to stir that at the same time. So if you prefer to taste test and do all of that while it's cooking, then this is so fun for that. You can be testing, obviously pasta you don't need to taste, but you can be tasting it to make sure that the pasta is actually cooked. But if you've got something like a curry or a pasta or something in there, you can, or a soup, you can be tasting that while it's cooking and adding in your flavors as you go. So what I have also got here behind me is my thermo server. So in here, I just have some spinach leaves and a tub of sun-dried tomatoes from the deli. This is going to be what I mix my pasta through with. So that is just to bulk it out a little bit more, add a little bit of color, but that is going to be with our pasta as well. So nice little green.
So, Emma, does that mean that you can cook without the lid on? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, yes, Kerry. So at the moment I'm boiling pasta, but you can do things up to 100 degrees. So
okay.
It doesn't have, the blades are stationary at the moment, which is why I'm still giving it a stir here and there, but you can be simmering. Sometimes it will be that I've cooked a curry and it's already finished, but the rest of my dinner's not. So I will just have that simmering there with the lid off so that more moisture is not going into it and it's just kind of simmering, much like you would do on your stovetop.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. I didn't think that I'd love this feature as much as I do.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. Especially if you're somebody who likes to taste your food and adjust the seasoning and all of that sort of stuff. The open lid cooking is just a game changer, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I'm usually pretty busy come dinner time with the kids and after school activities and that kind of thing. But it is handy to be able to start it off like this or finish it off like this, put the lid on in between as well. So sometimes when I am cooking pasta, I'll put the lid on and put it on a gentle stirring speed rather than me having to remember to come back and stir. But I do also have that ability to take that lid off and just let it simmer as well, depending on what I'm cooking. My daughter is celiac, so we cook a lot of gluten-free food, which tends to fall apart a lot. So being able to do it in here with the open lid cooking, I can really keep an eye on it and I can make sure that it's not stirring. So when it is stirring, sometimes it can fall apart. Whereas doing it this way, I know that it won't fall apart and it cooks beautifully.
Yeah, good.
So my pasta has 2 minutes left, but I actually think it's done because I left that on for 15 minutes, but the packet only said 13 minutes. So I actually think that that is done. However, I'm not going to take it out of that water. I'm going to leave it in that water for a little bit longer, but I'm going to swap bowls over. So the beauty of our second bowl offer is the fact that you can literally take one off and set it aside and put the next one on. I'm just going to set that pasta aside here and come back with a second bowl. So as consultants, we have earned second bowls or earned second machines, which have given us the ability to have a second bowl. At the moment, when you purchase your Thermomix and are looking at getting a second bowl, the second bowl will be dispatched to you in about June. So you'll get a chance to get a feel for your machine, really miss having that second bowl, and then when you're getting a bit sick of not having it, it'll arrive on your doorstep.
Okay.
And are you ready for your next step, or do you want me
Yes, I am. So we can see on the bottom that there is some browning happening on the bottom. So all that browning is just going to be extra flavour throughout our dish when we are done. So back here, so now it's asking for 90 grams of tandoori paste. Now this tandoori paste is homemade, so I know exactly what's in it. I can make it as spicy or as mild as I like. Hence why I'm not putting the chili in there, because the last time I made this, it was a little bit more spicy than what my children like. So I'm just going to keep it a bit more mild this time.
And how long does that paste last in the fridge?
So quite a while, because I just top it with a little bit of olive oil, but I also can portion it and put it in the freezer as well, which I often do. So this one's been in my fridge for a few months and it's still perfect.
See, that's all right.
Yeah.
I find that you probably get about 6 curries out of one batch.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't freeze mine. I usually just keep it in the fridge, like Ange said, just keep a nice little layer of olive oil on top. That's going to help preserve it.
Okay.
And then next we're going in with a little bit of tomato paste. Now I normally make my tomato paste as well, but I haven't had the tomatoes available lately, so I have not done that. And I've big splodged down the screen of my Thermomix there.
A little tip with your tomato paste, I don't often make my own because, again, I don't have access to homegrown tomatoes. But when you have the jar, if you keep the jar upside down, it creates a vacuum of its own and it will not go moldy. Since doing that, I've never had moldy tomato paste.
Yep.
Thank you. Yeah. My mother taught me that.
There you go.
So good. All right, so I've just popped in a little bit of water, and now it's asking for 20 grams of almond meal. So you may question why my almond meal is this color. Simply because I have ground down my own almonds using just dry roasted almonds instead of blanched almonds. So this saves me having to throw out packets of almond meal that goes rancid after just using once or twice. So I'm using the milling function to do that.
Saves a lot of being able to buy your raw ingredients and then mill them down.
Yes. And then we are simply just going to add in some chicken thighs. So the recipe is asking for 500 grams, but I do have 780 grams here, and that is going to be absolutely fine. I can just, it's actually about 800, so I'm just going to tick that off and it will still work just the same. And a little bit of salt. Pressing next, and then what I'm going to do now is just remove the lid cap, and then we are putting our varoma on top with our cauliflower rice with the hole in the middle for the steam to get through, and then that is going to steam away there while the curry is cooking in the bottom. I've got my rice in the top there, and if I wanted to, I could use the varoma tray as well and put some green veggies on there as well, which I often do for the family. Right, so it's just going to cook for 8 minutes.
Perfect. Thanks, Anne. Well, while yours is cooking away there, I'm going to come back over to me here. And I'm going to make a start on my prawns. So I have some garlic here. And we measure garlic with love in this house. So I don't actually know how much is there, but there's a fair bit. And I'm going to put some parsley in too. Now, Anne has shown you what it's like to use the Thermomix with cookie dough. I am totally winging it tonight. So you do have the ability to use the machine manually or using a recipe. There is a recipe for garlic prawns on cookie dough. However, I just thought I would show you guys how I do it manually using the screen. So one of the things that is a little bit different about the TM7 is that our lid needs to match our bowl. You'll notice that there's no locking mechanism here, but the locking mechanism is in our lid and in our arm. So that is a magnetic locking mechanism that helps to keep the lid on if we are going above speed 2. Under speed 2, this lid stays unlocked. So I'm just going to come into our manual mode here. I'm going to chop that for 3 seconds on speed 7. So we have some presets that we can choose from, or we can go for a bit of a scroll. So you notice that it's a little bit different to that of the TM6 or any of the other models. I'm going to press play on that. One of the things that Zoom doesn't actually show you is just how quiet the TM7 is compared to our previous models. It is much, much, much quieter because it has an insulated casing here. I'm just going to show you that that has chopped that nicely. And again, as Ange said before, we're not going to scrape that down. We're going to add in our onion. So I've just chopped up 1 onion into some wedges. And instead of using oil, I'm actually going to use a little bit of butter. apparently it works better. I haven't actually tried this recipe with butter before. I've only ever done the wheel. So we'll give that a whirl. Rinse my fingers. If I wanted to, I could bring up the scales and weigh that in, but I'm not going to get too fussy about it. I'm going to pop the lid on now and step out of here, and we're going to go into our browning. So as I mentioned before, with the TM7, you have the ability to access the browning without a recipe, as well as within a recipe. So we have our gentle or we have our intense. I'm just going to go with gentle, but I'm going to drop that time down to 5 minutes, and I'm going to press play on that. All that's doing here is stirring at the moment. You might not be able to hear it at the moment, but it is stirring that, and the blades are slowly moving. And then they actually come to a stop. Soon we'll hear a saute. So you'll hear a bit of a sizzle with the Thermomix. You might not be able to hear it through Zoom, but one of the things that the browning function does is replicate exactly what you would be doing on your stove. So we're going to stir and then stop, let it come to a sizzle, and use that high heat at 160 degrees. And then it's going to stir and then stop and do that again. So I can hear that that is now sizzling, even though we're still green. So it does get quite hot quite quickly. You can see we've moved to orange quite quickly, and we are nearly at red. There we go. And that was in, what, 40 seconds? So that's pretty cool with how hot it can get and how quickly it can get. With the browning function, our lid is actually unlocked, and you can see that over here, there is a little lock symbol. So I can take that lid off and check it in between. I actually don't want to take it off and check it because I don't want to disrupt that browning process. But it is a function that you do have the ability to take that lid off and check it if you wish. I don't actually know why you would want to. I suppose at the end, maybe towards the end, you could check it and see if it needed any longer. I tend to start with a lower amount of time and then increase if need be. You can always add more, but you can't ever take away. Do you have anything else to add with the high heat there, Ange, or the browning?
No, I think you pretty much covered it pretty well.
It smells amazing. I wish you could
Yeah.
smell.
Yeah, and mine smells pretty cool too.
It's pretty
Smells
delicious.
good. Yeah.
So I'd love to know, what kind of things have you guys browned, whether that be in a Thermomix or not, on the stovetop? How are you currently doing that, and what does that look like? It smells so good.
I only brown on the stove top. I sort of haven't really. I just haven't had the confidence to brown on with the Thermomix.
Okay, yep, that's
Yeah.
something we can work on and that I can help you with. One of
Yeah.
with the TM6 in particular is that you might not realize that you're using the browning, but it's built into some of your recipes. So things like your risotto, things like your curry that Ange is making, some of our pasta dishes, there are a few dishes that do use the high heat within the recipe as well. So you may not realize that you're actually doing it.
Okay.
Usually in the TM6, it will ask you for the splash guard. With the TM7, you don't need to use the splash guard. We have our lid cap, but it can also be removed as well. It doesn't need to be on.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, you go, sorry.
Well, what about the safety? Because it's much hotter heat now. Remember they had the issues of, I don't know if I don't know what I heard, whether they were exploding or what was happening, but because of the heat or the
Yeah, sure. So that
pressure.
was the TM31, that an ancient dinosaur, but they have come a long way. So there is definitely valid concerns because it is generating 160 degrees there, but with our insulated bowl, I can touch this safely. This is not hot at all. It's not actually warm. So being able to touch that is fine, and I can take that lid off. Obviously, I'm going to get a nice facial with that steam there, but as long as we're taking the lid off away from us, okay. The thing that was happening with the TM31 was people were just winging it, much like I'm doing now, but there were built-in safety features. It was just turn a dial and take it straight to speed 10.
Okay.
The mechanisms of the TM7, if you were wanting to blend something that was already hot, the Thermomix registers that it's actually already hot, and it won't go to that speed until it gradually takes it there. It's not just going to go straight there because it knows that it's hot. So there are lots and lots of different built-in safety mechanisms like that. And
Yeah.
things like when the blades are spinning above speed 2, that lid is locked so that it actually can't.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you.
No, that's fine. I'm happy to answer any questions. The other thing too is to just be mindful of your maximum fill line. So that was one of the things that was
Yeah.
people were overfilling it and then trying to blend
Yeah.
hot contents. So if you're over that maximum line, which I can show you, actually show you. There is, I don't know if you can see it over here, there is a max line. So that's
Yeah.
0.2 litres. I need to tip my password. But that is your kind of safety max line. So if you've got liquids or meat or anything like that, you can actually fit up to 1 kilo of meat inside the Thermomix. I usually do 1.5 to 2 kilos when I'm slow cooking with a little bit of juices to help that cook down. So you can definitely do big quantities, but you do need to be mindful of that 2.2 litre mark. And I'm going to pass back to you, and I'm just going to tip out the pasta.
Yep. Like you just said, I'm doing up to 1 kilo with a big family. I have 4 children, so I'm feeding six people. 2 of which are like adults, and I often push my meat up to 1.2 to 1.5 kilos as well. So, as long as I'm not going over that max fill line, then I'm pretty good. But it does work. I put 1.2 kilos of chicken in our dinner tonight, and it worked perfectly, just the same. So I've just given our cauliflower just a little bit more of a stir around, just to help with even cooking. Just pushing next. And at this point, it does say 4 minutes. Now, because I did put the extra chicken in, I'm just going to put an extra 2 minutes on, because that's also going to help with making sure that our cauliflower rice is really cooked to how we like it. So we like it quite soft rather than more bitey. So I know that I need to add 2 minutes straight away. So I'm just going to override that and press play. So now that's going to cook away for another 6 minutes. And then I will be able to add some some coconut cream into there, and then also cook with the lid off so that I can adjust anything at the end. Now, this coconut cream is also homemade. So I like to buy my coconut without the sulfates because I react to sulfates. So this way I can make my coconut cream and know that it's not going to upset my tummy. So it's literally just desiccated coconut and water.
Oh, really? God,
Yeah,
wow.
pretty cool.
It's amazing.
It is.
For that one on cookie dough too, isn't there, Ange?
Pardon?
There's a recipe for that cookie dough.
I'm not sure if there's one for coconut cream, but there's definitely one for coconut milk on there.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's great. You've got 4 children. I had 4 children.
Yeah, it's lots of
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah,
I've
it's
got
beautiful.
twin boys who are nearly 18 and a 15-year-old girl and an 11-year-old girl too. So it's a
Lovely.
busy household.
Yeah, lovely. Well done. Good on you.
Thank you.
So I'm going to spotlight my camera again and just show you guys that browning on the bottom there. So you can see that the onions have sauteed down nicely with that parsley and garlic, and we've got beautiful browning up the top. I'm just going to give that bowl a bit of a scrape with my spatula to release some of that browning, because I want that flavor to go through my pasta and not just stick on the bottom of my bowl. I really wish you guys could smell this. It is to die for. And now we're just going to add in our prawns. Now, we just have some prawn cutlets from Aldi. You could do this recipe with chicken if you wished. I am just loving prawns at the moment, and the fact that I don't have to cut anything, I can just chuck it in and I don't even have to touch it or cut it or do anything. And the fact that I live down here, pretty cool that I'm buying these from Aldi, but it was what we had access to today. So I'm going in with 2 packets of 240 grams. You could do this in 2 batches, but I have done this plenty of times and it seems to work well doing it this way.
You could probably do a mix of seafood too, put some calamari or something in there too.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
I'll have to do that next time, Ange.
Yeah.
We don't like much seafood, but we do like prawns and calamari.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to go back with our high heat. So I'm going to pop our lid on and I'm going to go for another 5 minutes. So I'm just going to saute those off in there with that onion and garlic and parsley. So this will stir it around. It just stirs it to make sure that it is coating whatever it is that you're cooking in the oil, or in butter in my instance. And also to evenly distribute the food throughout the bowl so that it can get that nice sear on the bottom of the bowl where our heat is conducting through there.
Can I just ask, the front of that screen there, I can see where you did the 5 minutes. Then it says 160, but I can't see, what does it say above the 160?
It says heating up on my one.
Okay.
So once it gets to 160 degrees, it might not say heating up. I don't know. Usually it says the current temperature and then the temperature that it's working towards. So at the moment it just says heating up. I don't know what the current temperature is, but that's a great question.
So you just knew you wanted it to be on 160 for your cooking purposes?
So for this, I'm using the browning function, which is replicating what I would be doing on my stove. I would usually use quite a high heat to sizzle these off.
And how did you choose the browning function?
I'll show you. So when you turn your Thermomix on, you have a few different ways that you can set your screen up. I personally like to use a meal plan, as oh my gosh, and as Ange showed before, she had her creamy coconut chicken curry into her meal plan. I have not got a chance to meal plan this week, but mine's not there. So you can come down, you can see a few different things on Cookie Doo's screen here. So Cookie Doo's built into the screen, and then you've got your search. You've got your little book, which is more Cookie Doo stuff, your recently cooked, your bookmarks, your created recipes, all of that. But then we also have a little button here, which is a picture of our blades, which is our functions or our modes. So this is all of the functions that we can use manually with the TM7. They are built into our recipes as well, but these are where you can access them outside of a recipe. So if you're just wanting to make a dough without following a recipe or following your own recipe, then you could use the dough function here. So
Right.
there's quite a few different ones here. I can talk to them in a sec. I just want to check where Ange is at before I go into that.
Yes, sure.
I've got 40 seconds left on my dial.
All right. I'll talk about the first few and then you tell me when you need me to interrupt.
Yep.
So manual mode, which is what we've been using to do the chopping of our garlic and parsley and then sauteing. We've got pre-clean. So you do have that in the other Thermomixes. It's just not as good. Our dough function, so being able to access the dough. So 1 minute of kneading in the Thermomix is the equivalent to 10 minutes by hand, and it throws the dough around inside the machine. We have the browning, which we are accessing now. That takes the high heat up to 160 degrees, which is significantly hotter than our previous models. We have steaming, so think of that as your aroma. That's what Ange has got going at the moment. But you have the ability to steam inside your simmering basket or on top in your Varoma as well.
Yeah.
Are you good there, Ange?
Yep.
Swap over to you.
So you can see all the steam coming up now after that last 6 minutes. When I stopped it before, it was still not quite steaming. So you can see how much hotter it got in that 6 minutes there. So our cauliflower rice is nicely done. Normally I would pop that into a thermoserver to keep warm. I'm not going to bother today because I'm just going to portion that up later and put this into the freezer for meals. All right. So where are we? I'm just going to press next. Remove the aroma, which I've done, and now I'm adding in that coconut cream as well. So it is quite a bit thicker because, like I said, it is homemade, but there's nothing else in it other than coconut and water. So it's just automatically ticking that off for me, which is really cool. So you can just see in there so far, that's what we are looking like. Just to just give it a little bit of a stir with my spatula. And then we're just putting it on for 3 minutes on open lid cooking. So it's just going to sit here and basically sit here and simmer down and just thicken up the sauce a little bit. And that's it. I can show you what it looks like when it starts to bubble a bit if you want.
Thanks, Ange. So that is the open lid cooking again, like what I did before with our pasta. We're seeing that again there, but with the curry, which is pretty cool. So back to our functions here, we have turbo, so being able to blitz anything, nuts, ice. Sometimes it's really helpful to get excess dough off the blades, or even a paste or a sauce or something like that. We've got the blend function, which is really handy for things like Ange's tandoori paste. Oh my gosh, my words are definitely not wording tonight. Ange's tandoori paste would have used the blending function. We also use that one for things like our ice creams, our soups, and all of that kind of stuff. You can see Ange's machine bubbling away there. I'm going to just quickly replace you. That looks so good.
Yeah. It's very tasty, this dish. And if you were vegetarian, you could just replace the chicken with some tofu or some chickpeas or just some chopped up pumpkin and sweet potato or something like that.
Mm.
So yummy. The best part of that too, Ange, is if you wanted to taste that and check the spice levels or check your salt, you could be doing that as that last cook's happening, which is really cool.
Yeah, so I might have to add in a whole tin of coconut milk for my kids.
That curry for dinner tonight too, and we added a lot of Greek yogurt.
Yeah. Yeah.
These are our prawns. So you can see they have cooked in there beautifully, but what I'm wanting to do is make that a bit saucier. So I can see that my prawns are definitely cooked. I'm going to come back into our manual mode and click on our scales here. What I'm adding in now to make it quite a saucy dish is some cream. I'm going to add in about 250 grams of cream. And again, this is just a wing it kind of recipe. I don't have this written down. It's all kind of in my brain. And if it goes to plan, great. If not, I'm sure someone will eat it. If not, the dog will be pretty happy. Instead of using liquid stock, or salt and pepper, I'm using some stock paste. So this is something that you usually make when you first get your Thermomix. We make this together, and you add a little bit when it's asking for salt. So if you're cooking pasta, or if you're cooking even mashed potato, I put a little bit of mine in my mashed potatoes. Anything that calls for salt, I put a little bit of this in instead. And I'm going to add a tiny little bit of water to just take that up to 300 grams in total. And I'm going to give that a stir with my spatula here. And I'm also going to use the open lid cooking here to just simmer that sauce with those prawns in there as well. So if you wanted to, you could add a tin of tomatoes and make it a tomato-y kind of pasta. I actually don't usually use like corn flour or anything to thicken this up. I just let the spinach and the pasta absorb the extra sauciness and cook there. So I'm going to come back out of here, find my open cooking, and I'm just going to drop that down to just 5 minutes, which probably doesn't need that long, but it'll give me enough time to chat to you about the functions. So blend function, we've got soups, we've got sauces, we've got ice creams, anything that you would usually use like a bar mix, or anything that you would use like to blend. We've got our egg boiler function. This is probably one of our most used and favorite functions in our house. You literally pop your eggs in, the blades stay stationary, and it brings them to the boil. The TM7 is a lot more graphic, so you can see exactly how you might like your eggs to be cooked and make a choice through that. We have our open cooking, which you've seen us use a few times tonight. We also have our kettle function, which I used at the start of the night to boil my water before I put my pasta in. We have our warm-up function, which is really good for saucy things. So I wouldn't go putting this on to warm up, but something like a soup, even some satay sauce to then add to your chicken, something like that. I wouldn't actually use it to do that for pasta or rice. It's more liquidy kind of things. We have our rice cooker, so you can cook your rice directly in the bottom of the Thermomix bowl using the absorption method, or you can cook your rice in your simmering basket and be steaming at the same time using our aroma. We have the thickened mode, which is where you would make things like your bechamel sauce, your custards, your lemon curd, anything that you would usually stand and kind of melt, make a roux, and then add your milk or whatever that might look like. You don't need to do all of that. You can just chuck it all in, turn it on, and come back when it's done. We have our slow cook function. So you don't have to, but you can get the blade cover peeler If you already have the blade cover peeler for your TM6, then that is interchangeable into your TM7 as well. You can slow cook without the blade cover peeler, it just helps. We have our fermentation mode, so that is things like your yogurt, your kimchi, your sauerkraut, anything that is we have sous vide as well, which is where the blade cover peeler can also come in handy. I know that Ange did some steak last night and they made enough water out of the pot last night when I was scrolling. I was, oh, dinner at your house would have been delicious. If you haven't heard of that before, it is quite fancy. I'll let Ange explain sous vide because she is the chef and not me.
So with the sous vide mode is when you are vacuum sealing your food into vacuum sealed bags. You take it, removing all of the air so that it is nice and tight in there. And then you are putting your vacuum sealed bags inside a water bath and you're cooking your food at a low temperature for a long time. So last night my steaks cooked for an hour and a half, but they were so tender and beautifully cooked. So, and then once it's done, all you need to do is just sear it for about 30 seconds on each side and your steak is done. So good.
It always makes my mouth water talking about sous vide. We've done the scrambled eggs and we've also done some of the strawberries. They were to die for. We made a little like mini cheesecake and they were really yummy. We also have our peeler, so that is where our blade cover also comes into play. If you've got it for the 6, it's interchangeable, but that is used for your slow cooking, your sous vide, and also your peeler. So you can peel up to 800 grams of root vegetables in 4 minutes. So thinking potatoes, beetroots, garlic. It just pretty crazy, hey?
That's amazing.
Yeah, I'll grab my blade cover just to show you guys. So this is what the blade cover looks like. Oh, where am I? Here. So this just sits on top of your blades inside the bottom of your bowl, and it's not sharp. It's just bumpy. Agitates your potatoes or your garlic or your beetroot. So you are left with a really, really fine peel. You don't lose half of your potato, and it actually.
Sorry, Emma, we can't see you.
Oh, the other two. Hang on. Can you see me now?
Yes.
There you go. So this doesn't leave your potatoes, like you don't lose half of your potato, but you also have a really rough edge on your potato. So they're really good for roasting. So I will use this for peeling my potatoes. I'll then steam them in my varoma and then chuck them in the oven to roast them and get a really nice crispy outside once I've steamed them and made them fluffy on the middle.
You'll have to show me how to do that. I just can't even understand how you do that.
It's pretty crazy. Yes, I will definitely show you how to do that. We also have our grater, slicer, and spiralizer, which is another separate attachment. I won't grab it out tonight, but if it is something that you're interested in seeing, we can show you at your own demo as well. And then we do have the sensor as well, which is a meat thermometer that sits inside your breads, cakes, or meats, and it tells you the internal temperature. It connects to your phone as well as to your Thermomix, and you can be wherever monitoring the inside temperature of your food. So my prawns are done. They have simmered away in here. My sauce is looking lovely. Whoop, I've just splashed that on myself. I'm going to tip that into my thermo server. Let me just get my stuff organized so that I can show you guys.
You might have seen Emma just slide her Thermomix there too. So the TM7 does have a built-in glider board. So you don't need to sit your TM7 on a separate board. It is designed to slide around your bench compared to other models where you would have to pick it up to move it. So
is it safe though for kids? Like a kid couldn't slide it. Do you know what I mean? Like
it's not easy to slide, as in like you still need to give it a bit of force. I have a 6-year-old boy who is crazy. He's wild. And I haven't had any issues. He loves getting in the kitchen. He loves touching, feeling, playing, poking, prodding, and I haven't had any issues.
Good. Yeah.
One safety feature that I really like is that you can't press play when you're trying to cook if your lid isn't on, except for if you're openly cooking. So if the kids are around, tend to leave the lid off just so they can't press the buttons and get involved too much without your supervision.
Mm.
So my prawns are in my pasta there. You can see that is looking delicious. I wish I didn't eat dinner tonight already because I would have had a late dinner and eaten this. So like I said before, you could do this with chicken, you could do this with anything. It doesn't have to be prawns, but I just really feel like prawns lately. So excuse my dog crying in the background to be put outside. So,
That looks great. That looks lovely.
and you can see just how far it goes. Like this thermoserver is 2.7 litres. So I've really filled that up, and I didn't even cook the full amount of pasta. You could really bulk that out a lot further with more pasta and more prawns if you wished. So I'm going to pop the lid on that and let that spinach wilt a little bit further. And the beauty of this thermoserver is that it will keep it hot for up to 2 to 3 hours. So
Wow.
this new design, I've got my little this thingy here. This sits underneath your thermoserver, and it actually makes it really good for transporting because we bring the sides over here and lock that lid on. So the lid doesn't go anywhere. I can take that in the car, I can take that to the park, I can do whatever I want with that, and it is safe. So if you're wanting to get your hands on one of those, reach out to myself or your consultant if I am not your consultant, or if Ange is not, reach out to your consultant because we can help you to get your hands on that. Now, Ange, over to you. My pasta is done. I'm going to put my Thermomix on a pre-clean, but we'll come back over to you and see yours, and then we'll wrap up.
Sure. So
Beautiful.
there. Yep.
Lovely.
Smells good. Would be perfect, and I love that dish too because it's low calorie as well. So it's very good to have as a quick lunch on the go. Yeah. Does it-
Sorry.
No, that's okay. What?
I was just going to say that my bowl still has some browning on the bottom. See if you guys can see. So there's still some browning on the bottom of that bowl. Sorry, the lighting in here is terrible. But I want to show you the pre-clean quickly. So just going to pop in enough water to cover the blade. And I'm also going to pop in a drop of vinegar. So if you've got browning on the bottom of your bowl, it is always best to use vinegar when you're using this pre-clean. Probably. Okay. If you're using the pre-clean and putting in some dishwashing liquid, it's going to agitate it as well as heating it. And if we're doing that, you're going to end up with bubbles all through your kitchen. So by putting the vinegar in, it's going to soften that browning, and it's also going to not result in bubbles all over your kitchen. So with the pre-clean here, you can see it's quite visual. You can see that you can choose exactly how dirty your bowl is. I do just want to quickly show you the egg boiler function as well, and being able to choose just how you want your eggs cooked. So hopefully you can see that there. But you've got the ability to see, which is really great for cooking with the kids. My son, like I said, he's 6. He can't read just yet, but he can really tell by the pictures, and he can see inside a recipe when a recipe asks for an ingredient. One of the bigger differences with the 6 to the 7 is that the images are next to the ingredient. So he can't read the word Parmesan, but he can see that that's a little block of cheese. So they can actually see what is needed for the recipe in image form rather than just reading, which is not just great for children. It's also really good for husbands. So I'm going to pop this onto our pre-clean. I'm going to go for the browning pre-clean, and I'm just going to let that do its thing. So it will sit here and agitate and warm up and release some of that browning on the bottom of the bowl. Once that has finished that, I can put my whole bowl, except for this outer casing, into the dishwasher. So we have this little lever here that is on the side. We just use that to release the blades, take them out, pop them in the dishwasher, as well as the bowl as well. So everything except for this outer casing is dishwasher safe. But you will notice that this outer casing actually doesn't get all that dirty. Do you find that, Ange?
No, I just give it a little bit of a wipe over, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sorry, could you just repeat that? So you only clean it, you don't take it and then clean it in the dishwasher. Is that what you said?
I'll show you my other
Yeah.
bowl.
I've got my bowl here, Em.
Thanks, Ange. I'll
Yeah.
just-
So with the little lever on the side,
hang on, I'll just spotlight you.
yeah,
Thank you.
with the little lever on the side, all you need to do to release the blade is to slide that forward. So doing that will then allow you to pull your blade out, and then you can pull the insert out as well. So then this part here is not dishwasher safe. All you need to do really is give it a little bit of a wipe over, if that.
Yeah.
But the rest of it can then go into your dishwasher.
Right. And then
Yeah.
can you show me how to reinsert that? Because that's always the bane of my life, is trying to reinsert that blade.
Absolutely. So with the TM7, you line up the black part here with the handle. So that goes
Right.
in here. And then all you need to do is to put your blade back in the hole. It only fits one way, so just a little twist until it sits nice and flat on the bottom. And then all you need to do is slide that back again, and then that is all nice and locked in again.
Oh, wow, that's great.
So much easier.
Much easier. Yeah. Awesome. Well, that is it from us. We've presented both of our dishes. I will take some photos of my pasta and pop that onto socials. If you want to follow us on socials, mine is thermomentor_Emma_O'Donnell on Instagram. And Ange, what's yours?
Mine is Mixing with Ange.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yep.
If you have any questions, feel free to stay on and ask any questions or reach out to Ange or myself or your consultant if we are not that person. As I said before, we've got Trade Up, we've got the second bowl offer, and we have some incredible recruitment offers coming as well. So if you've got any questions, please reach out to us or your consultant because we would love the ability to support you. And if it's not for you, maybe it's someone that you know who might benefit from taking advantage of this offer, we do have our $100 Mix Shop voucher that is available tomorrow. So I know Ange and I are pretty busy between now and tomorrow. We've got a few people that are keen on taking up this offer, but if you've got any questions, then please reach out to us because we would be more than happy to help.
Yep. When does it end? It ends at midnight tomorrow night, right?
Midnight tomorrow
Yep.
night. Yeah, but get your skates on because I'm not staying up to midnight.
No.
Is there anything else that you wanted to add, Ange, before we say goodnight?
No, I think we've pretty much covered everything. So I just wanted to say thank you for joining us. It's been lovely to have you, and hopefully we will see you again soon.
One thing that I will just add, because I did forget, is that if you've already got a TM7, but you're looking at getting that second bowl now that you've seen how easy it is for us to use it, we do have that as a host reward starting as of the 1st of April. So you can reach out to your consultant, book your demo, and you'll be able to snatch a bargain on that second bowl, but not as good a deal as if you buy a Thermomix and get it as a bundle. So that is it. Thank you so much for joining us. Please reach out if you've got...
Thank you. Thank you. It was great. Really good to see, actually. And I'll message you, Em.
Awesome, Kerry. I'll chat to you soon.
Okay. Thanks, girls. That was lovely.
No worries. Thank you.
Okay.
For joining us. Thank you for jumping on.
No worries. See ya.
See you later.
Yeah.
Just stop record, and if anyone's got any questions.